Welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
I can't. .fun, it just broke me.
It's not fun.
I'm Tierney Steele from a bunch of places, but mostly OneSteelSister.com.
That's right.
I feel like I've been on several of your podcasts lately.
I did not pick a franchise. It turns out that was a mistake because I've now done 7 different movies and I'm working on an 8th. And so people are like, where are you from? I'm like, podcasting.
Where aren't you from?
The general idea of podcasting.
General idea.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well,
all right.
Thanks for joining us today. We're here talking about Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, minute 28 to 8. It starts with Leia revealing her cloaked binary beacon.
Cloaked binary beacon.
And it ends with Finn saying that if they jump again, they'll just be out of fuel. And realizing that they're not stuck, but they're in a tight spot there.
That's a very diplomatic way of putting it.
Well, we get, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but I think this is the first time that we get to meet Larma Daisy.
Wasn't she in episode 7?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Larma
believe so.
Daisy.
I could be wrong. I said
might be
correct me,
confusing her with
and you
that
corrected
doctor.
me, and I said no, so. Larma Daisy.
Larma Daisy.
It's fun to say.
Older looking woman. She
She's-
talks about how they can't make it or something. How they're, what did she say? What's her line?
They need the base somewhere with a strong enough signal.
Right.
Right.
So they
That's
can.
it.
That's her bit.
Yeah, apparently she's she's played by an actress named Amanda Lawrence.
Uh-huh.
And Daisy is named for Ryan Johnson's friends Dan and Stacy.
That's so bad. I love
Boo.
it.
Well, it's mixing it in there. It's not like, unless their name is Larma or something. I don't know how far it goes, but it's not the worst Tuckerization we've ever seen. But
Well, what's the actress's name? Amanda Lawrence? That almost seems like Larma seems like it could be a part
Did they
of
let
that.
her pick?
right. So Lawrence and Amanda Larma, Daisy,
Yeah.
Dan and Stacy.
It's
Amanda
all coming
Lawrence,
together
Dan
now.
and Stacy. Yeah.
It's the first time it ever occurred to me, like, there must be tremendous pressure when you're writing a Star Wars script. Like, imagine if we were writing a Star Wars script and all the Star Wars nerds we knew were like, you have to include a reference to me in it.
Right.
There must be so much pressure to do that. And you have all these royals dropping by the set. You have all these movies. Oh, you have to put me in your bloody movie. You know what I mean? Like, there must be so much. So I would not tell anyone I was writing. If I wrote the script, I would do it under a pseudonym to say, like, hey, it wasn't my choice. It was.
Or you
Barry
could just,
Devron who
I
did it.
put you in
Secret.
there, but you got cut out. Like, oh no, I totally wrote.
Ooh,
I
that's
totally
a good
wrote
one.
there's a totally cool character called, Ralex Robinson, and he was just, he was awesome, but he was in a scene that just wasn't working, so they cut him out.
Shoot, got Zuvio'd.
Mm.
Tierney, if you were going to be an extra in a Star Wars movie, what type of role would you want to be? If you were to be like Lorna Darcy here, would you want to be?
Yeah, Larna's got a pretty good gig, but I would totally go X-Wing pilot. Like, that caught my heart on first viewing of Star Wars ever. And so it's like, you got to go with that, with the original desire to be in this world. And plus, that's got to be the best. I mean, like, what are your actions? Climbing in and out of an X-Wing. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in an X-Wing delivering lines. I can do that. So, yeah.
How's your screaming and perishing? Are you
I won't do it right into my microphone because I don't want to upset the recording, but I bet I could handle it.
Yeah.
I was stage manager in high school. I can project and not realize I'm doing it until people yell at me. So
okay, yeah, X-Wing pilot.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think I would want something more crowded because I'd want to be able to look at other, the thing with doing an X-Wing is you're just sitting in a warehouse surrounded by tech guys holding like microphones and stuff. Like I want to be like around, like Cantina or something where they're like, oh, look at that guy, look at that guy. But, of course,
you can't be doing that on camera because then you're like the goof.
Well, I want to play a space tourist who's like, look at that. Look at that.
Right. Your little like holovid camera, taking pictures.
Totally, yeah. Space tourists.
Best of both worlds.
Star tourists. Sorry.
Star tourists.
Yeah.
Well, speaking
Back
of
to 28.
Speaking of everybody wanting a cameo, we also have our first appearance of unidentified female resistance monitor. Everybody's everywhere. There's so many monitors in this one. I feel like we had a lot of officers and stuff. Now we have a lot of monitor. Everybody has a monitor. Anyway.
It's because they're not rebels. They're the resistance. They got to make up their own thing now, apparently.
Yeah, it's like officer is so it kind of, denotes a structure that we don't really have here. This is kind of an open.
Well, as we're going to learn, that's part of the problem with resistance. There doesn't seem to be a structure. Like anyone can talk to anyone, regardless of the chain of command. And maybe that's kind of like, when you go to those schools where they don't do grades. It's like, no, we don't have officers here. We have monitors. No, we don't have. That's not the break.
Oh,
the timeout room.
I worked at a law firm that did not have partners. They had members. And I'm like, this is the same thing.
So we'll call her an unidentified resistance officer, unidentified female resistance monitor. I was trying to figure it out. If we don't put the resistance in there, she could be unidentified female officer, which is UFO, which is cool.
Yeah,
we get a lot of those. But she's the one who turns around and says, "They found us," after the ships jump in.
It's like the perfect cameo.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
one line.
Dramatic, close up, the whole 9 yards.
Michaela Cole. Michaela Cole, who was more famous to the Brits than to us. She was in
although
a show
now I think she's more famous.
Is she?
I didn't recognize her when the movie first came out, but since then she was on that show. I May Destroy You, which was on HBO, and that was like
that was a BBC HBO thing.
Yeah, but that was like a stellar performance where so now when I saw her, I recognized her. I was proud of myself.
Nice.
I was like, is that the girl from I May Destroy You? And there you go. So,
it is. Yeah, she co-created that. Co-created a show for E4 called Chewing Gum. And then she's been in a handful of. She was in the USS McAllister or whatever, the Black Mirror, the one where Landry goes nuts and clones people into his Star Trek.
Yeah.
So she's been in a bunch of stuff, and here she is here. I barely seen anything that she's in, but that was apparently more of a cameo and not just kind of a working actor bit.
Right. This is a Christian Slater showing up on the Enterprise in Star Trek 6.
Yeah. Slater.
See, I just pointed at her and was like, she looks familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't know who she is. And it was so funny because today I was like, oh my God, I forgot to look up the names of the two women on the bridge. And I was like, yeah, but Pete and Alex will have.
Yeah, we do all the
that's their job.
around.
So it's fine.
Let the men handle all the heavy lifting. You just sit there.
Yeah,
We'll point out the unidentified female officers.
Yes. Yeah, well, there you go. There's a good example of a cameo, and she gets a line too. So
right, that's
for the rest of her life, she can be signing autograph pictures saying they found us.
Yeah. Like to Steve, thanks for finding me, Michaela Cole.
You get the cursive F. That's very satisfying.
Yeah. So question, Lamar Dacey is the one who says we need to find a new base, one with enough power so that they can send out a signal or something like that.
Did she say base there? Could we turn that into another sample for like a dubstep song? Is that
totally? Yeah.
Okay.
I think she does say base.
All right.
Or maybe Leia says we need to find another base, and then
someone
she
definitely
says,
does though.
Okay. Yeah.
But why do they need like planets? It seems like it'd be easier to just keep a fleet scattered around, as opposed to having one planet which is easily blown upable by innumerable Imperial planet blowing up machines.
She seemed to make it sound like it was a power, server grid issue.
So you can only be in ships for so long before you need to like be hooked up to a.
Or like if you tried to run it from the ship, it would drain so much power from essential worker. You're exactly seeing my limit on understanding technology, where I'm like, there are things called servers, and they take a lot of electricity, and the room gets hot. And so that's just easier to have spread out on a planet.
Well, and also this is like the first time we're hearing about fuel being an issue. We've never heard about that in Star Wars before, about someone running out of gas, basically.
This is an amazing Star Wars minute. There is so much technology dropped that will never be explained.
Yeah.
Some of it has names, some of it doesn't. No one knows how any of it works.
I think they've talked about fuel, but it's never been an issue, but they've talked about it. Right? They've mentioned fuel.
Solo, that becomes a big thing.
It is mentioned in The Phantom Menace, according to Wikipedia, and Attack of the Clones.
That makes sense, because I had some sense that, like, oh yeah, and what Han Solo was moving around, he's loading fuel or whatever. In retrospect, once this movie came out and everyone started complaining about whether ships in Star Wars needed fuel, it's like, no, that feels right.
Yeah, I like it better if they don't need fuel. Them running out of fuel, this whole plot line that's just starting, I feel like I'm going to say this a million times. I will say it one time now. This feels like a recycled Voyager / Battlestar Galactica plot, because that was something Battlestar Galactica and Voyager were always doing. Oh, we have to find an iceberg for fresh water. We have to do this. We're being chased by this whole storyline. Poe and oh my gosh, I can't even remember what space. Now I can't remember what her Earth name is. The one from Jurassic Park.
Laura Dern.
Space Laura Dern. Like that whole plot, it seems straight out of BSG. That's the last time I'm going to say it, and I'm sure we're going to break that promise to you, but I will not keep saying. But
I'm making you the promise that I will break that promise.
I'm looking up, doing some background Googling or finding in place. In Star Wars, the motion picture cutscene, Anchorhead, Luke talking to Biggs, where he's looking up at the binoculars with the ships, and Biggs is like, it's no battle, hotshot. They're just sitting there, probably a freighter tanker refueling.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't see anything in Empire. I'm looking through the looks like there was some Wars. In Revenge of the Sith. There was something about Obi-Wan and Anakin talking about there's fuel behind them, so they don't want to explode stuff. I don't know if that was actually in the movie. Phantom Menace. Qui-Gon says we'll have to land somewhere to refuel and repair the ship.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of
where they refuel and repair 1 minute at a time.
Exactly.
Refuel, repair, and revisit.
Yeah. But yeah, no other. It's never really an issue, but it's been talked about.
I really appreciate it. This is definitely the Star Wars movie that has risen the most in my esteem as I rewatch it, because I remember watching this in theaters and being like, what is happening? I have no idea what's going on here. And as this storyline went on, even the parts I was on board for, I'm like, but I don't get it. I missed something. I don't understand what we're doing here. And the more times you watch it, so you already know the story, so you can pick up on these little things and like do Movies by Minutes podcasts about them, the more I'm like, oh, and so this morning watching, I'm like, yep, staying out of range. Then the fighters will fall back. Like, I understand how each piece of this is working together in a way that went completely over my head on first viewing in the theater.
A lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Right. But, I mean, for the most part, it's not necessarily, you won't be like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like in the theater, if you don't, like, you're still carried along by it.
You're too hyped up for being in the theater watching Star Wars.
Right, exactly, yeah. There's still enough going on that you're just like, okay, like I'm enjoying it, I don't know. And then later you go back and you're like, what was Luke's plan? But
yeah, exactly.
I do like that it, as I think I mentioned a few episodes ago, that I kind of went into this thinking it was going to be a rehash of Empire or a remix of Empire, the way that Force Awakens was a remix of New Hope. and certainly a ship being chased and for some reason having technical problems that it can't just escape is right out of Empire with the hyper. It's basically their version of the hyperdrive being broken.
Mm-hmm.
But
this
I don't know why that one feels more exciting to me than this one does. I guess because this one they're just kind of slowly flying. They're not like going in between asteroids and doing all sorts of cool stuff. Anyway,
there's
Tierney,
no worm that isn't a worm and has a name now, apparently, and a whole life. No, I was going to say my big thing was when all the controversy, people were like, I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it is Empire. A Jedi is training on a damp planet with a master who wants nothing to do with it, and their friends are in danger in a slow-mo chase. It is exactly Empire, and I don't understand why not everyone sees that. But
Empire was also not as well received when it came out, and you know it's taken us time to not us, we all knew right from the get-go, but it's taken time for people to kind of come around and be get hip to Empire, and I think the same thing's happening with this. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
We'll find out when the angry emails start flooding in. Like, Tierney doesn't know what she's talking about. Right. Here's my rebuttal.
Proximity alert. We were in proximity of Admiral Akbar, who shows up in this minute. You did get you got Admiral Akbar here, and
you got Admiral Akbar here.
I'm a little saddened for Admiral Akbar that he is now reduced to just saying, "Oh, the proximity alert is going off." Like he was an admiral, and now he's basically like a sub Chekhov. You know what I mean?
And
like
you could totally be like, "Oh, it's Amon Calamari," not "Oh, look, it's Admiral Akbar." Not a very admirally shot.
Yeah, so unless maybe he got demoted, maybe Leia slapped him a bunch of times, and he got demoted back down to.
That's why he's red.
To Ensign Akbar.
It's all coming together now.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Did they because the one of their Admiral Akbar performers died, right? But it was after.
I think it was after this. And then it was Tim Rose, I think maybe was the excuse me, I'm getting all choked up thinking about Tim Rose. But
Tim Rose.
I think it was Tim Rose, maybe. If I pull that, I win a point.
Tim Rose definitely is but I think he's still alive, Tim Rose. Are you thinking of Richard Bonehill? He was one of the puppeteers that...
I'm always thinking of Richard Bonehill.
But Admiral Akbar, I think, was... Let's see. I forgot his name is Gial Akbar.
Gial Akbar? How do you spell it?
Gial?
Gial.
Dear Lucasfilm, nobody needs that.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Yes.
His name Gil. It's so close.
Eric Bowersfeld.
Eric Bowersfeld is the puppet or the voice?
He's the voice of Admiral Akbar in Return of the Jedi, and then The Force Awakens in 2015, and then he died April 2016. So was not able to reprise his role, it seems. And then they, rather than recast him, they just blew him out the airlock.
Wow. So who's Tim Rose then?
Tim Rose is the puppeteter, one of the puppeteers that worked on. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. So
and also wrote
partial credit
musicals for
Elton John.
Yeah. Also, apparently, Eric Bowersfeld was apparently the last person to read for the part of Yoda, which eventually went to Frank Oz. They stuck with Frank Oz, but it looks like maybe they were having Yoda maybe thinking about separating the puppet and the voice.
Interesting. So, question. How do they know? Do they know that they say that's Snoke's ship? Or that's Snoke's ship?
Poe says that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they know that. I don't know how they're aware of that.
Well, it's the biggest.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Or for all we know, Snoke sent out a big announcement saying, "I've arrived and I'm flying around in my big ship now, so look out your windows."
The angle, we can't see it,
right?
but there's actually Snoke spelled out in gold glittering letters across the bridge.
The gold is very on brand for Snoke, so...
I couldn't believe it. I watched The Last Jedi with my toddler, and I thought he would be all about this, and he was like, Snoke, gold glittery bat, like, what is this? And then, like, not 5 minutes, a minute into that scene, way quicker than I thought he would be sick of Snoke, he turned to me, he's like, where are Chewie and Rey?
Oh, I thought he was gonna get into gold pajamas.
Okay.
It's like that's he's on the right track there.
We'll get there.
I was ready to indulge that. Why not?
You had your you had him ready to go. And
It's all good. This was not the movie for him. He likes Chewie and D2, and that's all he cares about.
D2.
So. Yeah, the cutest thing he's ever done. Switched it around.
Going by a last name is always cooler. It's
yeah.
There we go. But yeah, and this is this is the Star Warsiest minute. Like, there are so many people, British accents, random technology, and then the ships arriving from hyperspace is so overdramatic and cool.
Yeah, totally.
I'm assuming that Poe would have fought against Snoke's ship before, maybe, if that's the thing. Like, he would recognize it from previous battles, not the one that we just saw. But if he's known as the Resistance's best pilot,
that makes sense.
Maybe he would have fought against or near in the vicinity of Snoke's ship before.
Yeah, I kind of forget that they had a whole backstory before Rey and Finn and everyone showed up.
Although, really, like, you got a former stormtrooper standing right there. Why not have him say it?
The only thing he cares about is Rey on that ship. But Rey's on that ship. That's all he cares.
Maybe they did have him deliver that line, and they wanted the breathiness of Oscar Isaac's delivery.
Right. Yeah, that's he has that.
Oh, they should have had him say it together at the same time, like a little cute Jinx thing.
Jinx.
Yeah.
There we go. We fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
So here was one of the problems I had with the movie the first time I saw it. You were talking about confusion you had. And this binary tracking thing, you know, that Rey has a bracelet and Princess, like, General Organa has a bracelet. And it seems confusing to me that they're like, how are they tracking us through light speed when she's wearing a tracking device that is supposed to be like, Rey is supposed to be able to find her from a billion miles away. Why is that possible, but not? It seems weird that there's two different tracking devices going on and one can do things that the other one can't. And like, we don't know how they're tracking them. They made a big deal of the fact that we had it on the end of a string. So I assume that had something to do with the fact that Princess Leia is wearing a tracking device on her arm, but it doesn't. It's a totally unconnected thing. And I feel like that's kind of muddy on a screenplay level. Like, why would you have two contradictory things that just make it less straightforward? So
I agree.
Okay.
And that's
defense rests, Your Honor.
Yeah.
No, it does seem confusing to have like, nobody can track us, well, except for the thing that's tracking us, but nobody else is like,
yeah. Actually, just to go back to Empire, in the From a Certain Point of View book, there's a chapter where it's the rebels at the rendezvous point being like, so Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa haven't shown up yet.
Yeah.
If we leave, will they ever find us again?
Good point. Yeah.
So technology has obviously evolved in the time between.
Well, I know a lot of people made a
Maybe
big
this inspired it.
A big deal of the fact that in Rogue One, they established that light speed ships cannot be tracked.
Mm-hmm.
But that one of the Imperial, when they're like Stardust, they're looking on the computer files to find, and supposedly one of the things is a program to come up with technology to track ships through hyperspace.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, see, they established there, but I didn't even know you couldn't track ships through hyperspace. Like, why? What? Who? Like, didn't they track the Millennium Falcon at the end of in A New Hope when they left the Death Star, and they just secure the homing beacon is secure aboard their ship
because they put a beacon on their ship.
But yeah, they had to physically put something on the ship,
right?
Okay,
to track it. And so actually, the Leia Rey thing makes sense. Like, okay, here's this physical thing that basically mine is gonna ping.
Okay, so basically,
and get a ping back.
The technology thing was a way of doing like a remote ping of tracking a device, and then no matter where it went, you'd still be able to follow it, even though there was no physical object on their ship. Okay.
Yes. And I do like later or soon, you guys are going to see a character who is told that and is like, oh, they figured out how to do that. That's so cool. So I like the idea that like this idea has been floating around. People have been trying different stuff for a while. And
yeah, it's like 5G.
Just their bad luck, the Imperials figured it out I'm sorry, not the Imperials. The First Order figured it out first.
They're monitors. They're not Imperials. They're monitors.
I like so much about the sequel trilogy, but really it did kind of feel like they were just trying to mess with us older people's minds with that.
Right. How many times can we get them to trip up?
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out in the background. I was looking up the cloaked binary beacon.
And
and
almost nothing on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, oh, here we go.
Cloaked.
And it just says, oh, the S-thread transmitter bracelet. I'm like, here we go, gold. There's going to be a whole thing. And it's like, the S-thread transmitter bracelet, also known as a cloaked binary beacon, was a bracelet worn by General Leia Organa and Rey. End of entry. I'm like, oh, come on. I can tell it's a bracelet.
Yeah, we're aware, guys.
Yeah.
No, I had fun going down the rabbit hole of Leia's ring, which I'm sure you guys have probably already talked about.
No, go ahead.
No.
Oh, because she dramatically holds up her hand, is like,
true.
wait, no, we can't do that. It's the perfect, like,
yeah.
That
Pulls
piece of jewelry has to mean something. It basically has a cameo in this scene. And then what I love is I went down a rabbit hole because I immediately saw that. I'm like, 2 stones, this is a twin thing. Leia's a twin. Okay, fine. But the internet is trying so hard to make it more than that. And like, it represents Ben, but also Han. And I'm like, that sounds like someone who's never been married and had kids. Like, the jewelry is different things.
Right.
And then they're like, 1 stone is for Ben and the other is for Rey, who's like a child to her now. And I'm like, keep going, guys. Keep trying, because that ain't it. Like, when would she commission artwork like that between these 2 episodes?
I think as soon as she met Rey, she went over to one of the Resistance, like, you know what? You got to make me a new ring. This chick is dynamite.
That would be amazing.
They hugged. They never met before, and they instantly hugged in that movie. So they clearly had an immediate bond as soon as they saw. So, is there anything else about Leia's? We've not really discussed Leia's ensemble or anything at all. Anything else that you're impressed by with her look?
Just in general, I think she's got the general has a great look. Because it's very, very fancy and formal, but not over the top. And I really liked that, honestly. And this is the bias just because I grew up with it. But it's like, yeah, plain white dress, but check it out. We've got giant hair buns on her ears. Like, you absolutely believe that this person grew up and started getting to choose her own hairstyles and outfits now that she doesn't have to do formal Alderaan events.
Right. Yeah.
Just went with it.
Right.
It looks less military in this one. Her Force Awakens outfit seemed more military and like, not formal, but
Well, yeah. What's the word that you and I are both looking for right now?
Official?
Can't think of it. No.
Monitor. She looked much more like a monitor in the first movie. This one, she does look much more princessy, I think. It's more like closer to a gown than not that I'm complaining. I think it looks great, but
maybe she was doing an event when the evacuation started. Like, she was on a space Zoom.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think she was just like, we gotta get out of here.
Change.
She put on her best outfit because she's like, I don't want to lose this in the evacuation, so I want to wear this outfit. Like,
right. Well, that's her evacuation gear in case they.
Yeah. After Empire, she realized when she's evacuating, she might be stuck in one outfit for quite a while. So she's like, I want to wear something that will look.
She's like us running around Cloud City in snow pants for like 3 days.
Don't you dare! The one of 2 times I've cosplayed was Hoth Leia, or with that outfit, and it was
nice,
fantastic. Because I went to a convention in February, and I was like the only person not freezing. I'm like, this is great.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
I've got on a puffy vest and boots.
Slave Leias were looking at you very enviously at that point. Was it Leia pre? So it was Hoth Leia, not because my favorite Leia look is Empire Bespin Escape Leia, where she's wearing the Hoth outfit but has the hair.
But hair, no, I had the braid crown.
Got it. Okay. Cool. What's your favorite Leia look, Pete?
I'm not because you said it, but I'm gonna I have to go with Hoth Leia because it's the
copying me.
The vest. No, I'm not copying you. I'm copying Tierney.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Get it straight.
Come on. Does ditch the vest during the Bespin Escape.
Yeah, I like the vest and I like the hair up a little bit there. It's a good gloves maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her hair in Force Awakens is also much more like the hair of the Empire, more tighter braid
Hoth.
type of thing. Yeah, Hoth, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So.
No, she has a great look overall. The earrings are like, again, she's just the perfect, I shouldn't say old lady. That will offend people. But older. Like,
right.
Older. Like, she's grown into it. She's like, statement jewelry is my jam now.
She couldn't wait till she got to that age where she was just like, now I can finally wear big, heavy, chunky bracelets and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Just that shot where her hand kind of comes into frame to say stop. Like again, I wasn't even looking at the ring. That's how much I was. Just, I was looking at like, oh, that's pretty. Just like because your eye is drawn to it, and it is stopping. There is some action kind of just in the kind of the way that everything picks up. The shots are a little, the cuts are a little bit faster for a second as everything panics. We saw droids almost getting stepped on, but then it's like stop. I have to move my hand into frame. Stop. and it's very striking. So it's a good.
Talk to the.
I guess is it a right hand? Is that the same hand that she just slapped Poe with?
Ooh. Probably.
I assume so.
Yeah.
She's right-handed.
Right hand. Yeah. Because Carrie Fisher's right hand.
And is there
that hand's getting a workout today?
I feel like there's always like the does Leia have like a commando squad called like Leia's hand or the princess's hand or something? Because isn't that like a trope, like a cliche thing in some of the books and all that? There's like, oh, the Emperor's hand and like Vader's hand. So is there Leia's hand?
I guarantee you there will be a Leia's hand, and you should be getting royalties now from Lucasfilm for the rest of your life. No, she did have something in oh God, what were they called in the Thrawn trilogy? The aliens that were Vader's hand become her, like they worship her as Vader's daughter
because like she smells
and
like Vader,
and they follow her.
Oh, that's cool.
Not the like force sensitive possums.
No.
Right.
Totally different planet that the Empire had taken over.
Gotcha. I know what you're talking about. Everybody's yelling. Did you say yogurt?
I know. 13-year-old Tierney is so ashamed that I cannot even like attempt a pronunciation on the alien's name.
It's all right.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Pete'll put it in here digitally he'll put it in underneath it after,
there we go.
In post-production. So.
Oh, I'm looking it up here.
Back to actual canon. For the record, the only other cosplay I've ever done was Mara Jade. So this is really feeling like it's all my Star Wars coming together.
Which Mara Jade look did you go with? Did you go with... I don't know what the Mara Jade looks are.
Someone recognized me, which was awesome. It was very subtle because I was running a half marathon and did not want to deal with things, but I had her holster straps, and someone from the 501st ran up behind me and was like, Mara Jade, great, like that looks so cool. And I was like,
did you wear the red? Did you have your red hair?
Yes, I did. I had red hair at the time, so
I was like,
it really all worked out together.
I was like, if you're wearing a wig during a marathon is like that's hardcore.
No, I started out. I was wearing gloves, and it was morning, and so I was like, oh, I'll wear my black gloves. That will be perfect, and it fits the outfit. And I immediately 1 mile into the race was throwing those at my friends on the side, like, take these, catch them. I'm not dealing with this for another 12 miles. And I also did not run with the lightsaber because it was just whacking my leg every step, and I couldn't take it anymore.
Was it? So it was unlit. It was deactivated.
Lightsaber.
It was
hanging on your belt.
It was.
Okay.
Yes.
You were holding it in your hand or like that kind of.
Yeah. And for the record, people who do this probably already know it's very difficult to figure out how to attach a plastic lightsaber toy to a running outfit without getting into very weird. They're like, oh, and you just use your all punch or whatever in your leather, and I'm like, no, that's not what I'm doing here.
No punching.
Guys.
No punching.
Right.
No punching. Yeah, no punching. Oh, but speaking of slapping, you guys are about to experience one of the best payoffs in a Star Wars joke ever.
Oh, I thought you were going to slap us.
No,
somehow over the internet.
Yeah, that's the new technology that we've
Speaking
developed.
Of slapping, you guys are about
2021.
To experience. Oh.
He'll put it in digitally. Come on, dude. Oh,
that's impossible. Well, they've done it. Yeah, the permission to jump into an X-wing and blow something
Right.
up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just a perfect, stupid joke
After the
payoff.
lecture, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I
Well,
think
that's all I have for minute 28.
28.
28.
Yeah. What, Tierney, did you have anything else for 28 or any other just overall tidbits?
I'm amazed how much we talked about already, honestly.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Long show. The well, yeah, thanks so much for coming by and right now, so the one you have coming out right now is
This Means Something, which is a Movies by Minute of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes.
Currently airing. Very great. The episode where Barry opens the door and the orange light floods in just dropped as of recording. So it's a really good time. And then this summer I've got American Graffiti coming out. So it's just Richard Dreyfuss all the way down for me.
Can I announce that I did record my my American Graffiti minute already?
You did? Oh,
I did.
Yeah.
All right.
Showed up.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's super fun, but I was trying to think through. I was like, oh yeah, I've had like 9 different co-hosts for things because I keep doing different shows. And every time there's a new show, Rachel and I had done a podcast together and we're like, yeah, let's bring Doris in. She wanted to do American Graffiti 1 minute at a time. So,
Well, song at a time.
Yes. We switch that up because we try and keep it to a summer. It's a summer movie. So I was like, all right,
Yeah.
we'll run it then.
I wish we had done that, but too late now.
One song at a time for Star Wars?
Yeah.
Do lap to neck.
That's Chrysanthe's Tan's area.
That's
You
true,
back off her section.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't yet checked out Star Wars Music Minute on YouTube, our former guest of the show, Chrysanthi 10, is doing a parallel breakdown of this movie, focusing on the music involved. So check that out. And hey, while you're on YouTube, if you haven't already, check out this show. You can see what we got going on here, StarWarsMinute.com/YouTube. And then hopefully you will join us again tomorrow for another all-star minute of Star Wars.
Star Wars Minute.